Am I wrong for planning a lavish cruise for my birthday and not inviting my family? My family attempted to sabotage my wedding. Am I in the wrong for organizing a lavish cruise for my birthday and not inviting my parents or siblings? I'm a 28-year-old man named Daniel, working as a medical device development engineer for a prominent healthcare organization. Honestly, I never anticipated finding myself in this situation. For context, I've been spearheading a groundbreaking initiative to create a new cardiac monitoring system that is revolutionizing how we track heart issues in real time. The technique we developed has the potential to save countless lives by identifying cardiac irregularities hours before a severe incident occurs. Our team's work has been published in several leading medical journals, and we recently received a prestigious Industry Innovation Award. Professionally, my life is thriving. However, my family dynamics are starkly different. This disparity has never been more evident than today as I confront what may be the most significant decision I've ever had to make regarding my family relationships. I am the middle child in a family with 3 siblings. My older brother, Ethan, who is 32, is a successful cardiac surgeon at a renowned hospital and is often seen as the golden child. My younger sister, Mia, who is 16, is the baby of the family and is constantly showered with affection. Each year, their birthdays are grand celebrations. For Ethan's last birthday, our parents rented out an upscale restaurant, hosted over 100 guests, and spared no expense. When Mia turned 16, they hired a live band and transformed our backyard into a festival venue. I remember how they spent weeks meticulously planning every detail, from custom decorations to hiring a professional photography crew. Let me illustrate how I grew up. Every achievement I made was overshadowed by those of my siblings. I recall sitting at the dinner table on my 10th birthday, listening to my family discuss Ethan's soccer game as if it were the most important event of the day. They had thrown him an extravagant superhero-themed party 2 weeks prior, complete with a magician, special costumes, and party favors that far outshone anything I had. The entire neighborhood attended, with kids running around in capes and masks while my parents beamed with pride over their remarkable firstborn. When I finally mustered the courage to ask if they had forgotten my birthday, my mother barely glanced up from her phone and said, "Oh, sorry, honey. We've been so busy with Ethan's tournament schedule and Mia's dance performance. We'll make it up to you next year." She then returned to scrolling through photos from Ethan's party. I remember sitting there, staring at my untouched food, feeling invisible in my own home. They never made it up to me, not that year or any other year. The pattern continued throughout my childhood. When I was 13, we were enjoying a family meal when the waitress asked about any upcoming birthdays. My mother chuckled and said, "Oh, just his, but we aren't doing anything major. Daniel's not the type to require much." Everyone at the table laughed as if it were a light-hearted joke. Reflecting on that moment still fills me with shame. The following year, they threw Mia a half-birthday party because she was upset that her birthday fell during the summer while school was out. The favoritism wasn't limited to birthdays. Throughout my childhood, every request I made was met with excuses, while my siblings received whatever they desired. When I was 10, Ethan begged for the latest gaming console, and my parents drove 3 hours to another city to get it, stating, "Nothing's too much trouble for our future doctor." A few months later, I asked for a science kit from the local store for a school project, but my mother dismissed it, saying, "That's too expensive right now." The following week, they bought Mia an iPhone simply because she mentioned wanting one in passing. These were not isolated incidents. Every accomplishment in my life was treated as an afterthought. I graduated from high school as valedictorian and was accepted into one of the top engineering schools in the country. Most parents would be thrilled, right? My achievements barely registered. My father simply said, "That's nice," while looking at his phone. My mother's only response was, "Well, engineering was your backup since you didn't try for medical school like Ethan." Ethan was accepted into medical school the same month, and they celebrated with a lavish party, hiring caterers, live music, and even special decorations that read "Future Dr. Ethan." 2 years later, when Mia graduated from high school with average grades, they hired a professional photographer, made a tribute video, and gifted her a brand new car as a graduation present. My college graduation gift? A gift card to a local electronics store. Now, let me share a bit about my current career success, not to boast, but to highlight the stark contrast in how my family perceives accomplishments. For the past 2 years, I've led a team of 15 engineers in developing a revolutionary heart monitoring device. My work has been recognized in major medical journals, and we recently received the Healthcare Innovation Award, one of the most prestigious accolades in our field. The irony is palpable. Our device has the potential to benefit patients like those my brother Ethan treats, yet he has never shown any interest in learning about my work. During the awards ceremony, my entire team's families were present, celebrating with champagne and taking proud photos. My parents, however, didn't even respond to the invitation. Last month, during our weekly family video call, I attempted to share the news of the honor, but my mother interrupted me mid-sentence to ask Ethan about his upcoming surgery schedule. They then spent the next 20 minutes admiring Mia's Instagram photos from her recent beach getaway. My achievements went unacknowledged, and when I tried to bring it up again, my father simply said, "That's nice, son," before shifting the conversation back to Ethan's imminent nomination for department head. I've tried discussing this pattern with them multiple times over the years, but each attempt has resulted in dismissal or gaslighting. "You're just too sensitive," my mother would say, rolling her eyes. "We treat all of our children equally," my father would mumble, avoiding eye contact as usual. Ethan would smirk and add, "Maybe if you did something actually important," while Mia would sigh dramatically and label me an attention seeker. Despite their neglect, I've managed to build a fulfilling life. I have a great career, good friends, and an amazing girlfriend named Stephanie, who is 27 and has been incredibly supportive. She has witnessed firsthand how my family's treatment affects me, even when I try to hide it. Just last month, during a dinner with her family, her mother made a bigger deal about my birthday than my own family ever has. She baked my favorite cake, which she remembered from a casual conversation months earlier, and gave me a thoughtful work-related gift. It was touching, but it also made me realize how much I had missed out on. That experience prompted my current decision. My birthday is in 3 weeks, and instead of preparing for yet another disappointment, I'm taking control. I've booked a luxury cruise and organized an extravagant celebration. Not just any cruise, I've reserved a luxury suite package on one of the most prestigious cruise lines. The itinerary includes unique dining experiences, spa treatments, and private shore excursions. I'm inviting all of our extended family, my aunts, uncles, and cousins, as well as my close friends. The guest list includes around 50 people, all of whom have shown genuine interest in my life and achievements over the years. But here's the twist, I'm intentionally excluding my immediate family. The invitations have already been sent, and I have something special planned for the main celebration dinner. I'm going to present a slideshow, but not just any slideshow. I've gathered images and memories of all the birthdays they missed, the accomplishments they overlooked, and the occasions that made me feel invisible. Each image will be paired with a corresponding picture of how they celebrated Ethan or Mia on similar occasions. Is this petty? Perhaps, but it feels necessary. I've also prepared a presentation about our medical device project, not to boast, but to showcase what I've accomplished while my family was too preoccupied with Ethan's medical career. The device has already been licensed for clinical trials, and preliminary findings suggest it could reduce cardiac death rates by up to 30%. This could potentially save thousands of lives. Word has spread through the family grapevine, and emotions have been intense. My Aunt Susan, who has always been more attuned to family dynamics, immediately responded with enthusiasm and called to express her pride in me for standing up for myself. Several cousins have also offered their support, stating they've noticed how I've been treated over the years but were unsure how to address it. However, not everyone has been supportive. Some relatives have labeled me as petty and immature. My mother has been bombarding my phone with messages, leaving voicemails that alternate between guilt-tripping, "How could you do this to your mother after all we've sacrificed for you?" and threats, "You'll regret this behavior, young man." My father sent his usual passive-aggressive text about how I'm tearing the family apart and creating unnecessary drama. Ethan called me childish and advised me to grow up and accept that some people just achieve more in life. Mia posted a cryptic, hostile message on social media about attention-seeking behavior and toxic siblings who can't handle others' success. Despite this, my friends and Stephanie have been incredibly supportive. My best friend from college, who has witnessed my family dynamics for years, said something that really resonated with me: sometimes it takes a bold act to disrupt destructive patterns. You've tried to talk to them quietly for years, maybe they'll finally listen. Stephanie has been especially fantastic throughout this process. She has helped me organize every aspect of the cruise, from the meals to the decorations. Caring about family disgrace after years of being publicly ignored may seem radical to some, and perhaps it is. But after 28 years of being treated as an afterthought, of watching my siblings be celebrated while I was overlooked, of having my accomplishments dismissed and my feelings questioned, this feels necessary. This isn't just a birthday celebration anymore, it's about taking control of my narrative and telling my family that I refuse to be the invisible middle child any longer. The cruise is set to depart in 3 weeks. Half of me is thrilled to finally celebrate myself properly, but the other half is anxious about the potential fallout. Some friends have suggested that I should have cut contact discreetly rather than making a bold statement, but I believe I needed to do this not just for myself, but for any middle child who has ever felt ignored. Am I taking things too far? Should I have approached this situation in a less dramatic way? The cruise is paid for, and the majority of guests have confirmed their attendance, but I still wonder if I'm burning bridges that I might want to cross again in the future. I would appreciate any suggestions, especially from those who have experienced similar family dynamics. Update 1: It's been 2 weeks since the cruise birthday celebration, and I need to share what happened because things escalated beyond my expectations. The cruise itself was fantastic. Nearly everyone who RSVP'd showed up, around 45 people in total, including most of our extended family and close friends. I presented my slideshow during the first night's welcome dinner in the ship's premium restaurant. The room fell silent as images appeared on the screen, empty chairs at my childhood birthday dinners juxtaposed with Ethan's extravagant celebrations, my overlooked academic achievements next to me as recognized milestones. I didn't expect my Aunt Carol to burst into tears halfway through, claiming she had never realized the extent of the disparity. Several other relatives admitted they had noticed the unequal treatment but hadn't grasped how systematic it was until they saw it laid out chronologically. The presentation on my medical device project received an enthusiastic response. My uncle Robert, who works in hospital administration, even approached me about implementing our monitoring system at his facility. It's amusing how my professional accomplishments suddenly gain significance when validated by others. However, this is where things took a turn. On the second day of the cruise, my mother managed to convince the cruise line to let her board at our first port of call. She claimed she was a surprise visitor invited to the celebration. Security let her through because she had photos of me on her phone that proved she was my mother. She stormed into our lunch gathering, mascara running down her face, yelling about how I was trying to turn the family against her. "After all we've done for you," she shouted in front of everyone. "You ungrateful and hateful child." Stephanie attempted to intervene, but my mother turned on her, accusing her of poisoning me against my family. The big shock came when my normally quiet Aunt Margaret stood up and confronted my mother. "Helen," she said firmly, "we have all seen you favor Ethan and Mia for years. We said nothing because we didn't want to intervene, but this is over now." Several other relatives joined in, expressing their own experiences of unfair treatment over the years. My mother left in tears, but the drama didn't end there. That evening, Ethan and Mia launched a coordinated social media attack, sharing childhood photos with notes criticizing ungrateful siblings and attention-seeking behavior. However, it backfired spectacularly. People began commenting with their own insights about how I had been treated differently throughout the years. The cruise continued for 3 more days, and without my immediate family around, I experienced what genuine family support feels like. My cousins shared stories about their own experiences with favoritism, and Uncle James, whom I had always thought was distant, confessed that he had been following my career through business publications and was genuinely proud of my accomplishments. When we returned home, I found over 30 missed calls from my parents and a lengthy email from my father. For the first time, he acknowledged the inequality in how they treated us, but his explanation only made things worse. We focused more on Ethan because he was following the family medical tradition, and on Mia because she needed extra support. "You were always so independent and capable, we thought you didn't need the attention." The fallout has continued. Just yesterday, my mother showed up at my office, causing a scene in the foyer. She requested to meet with me, telling the security guard that I was breaking her heart and destroying our family. My colleagues witnessed the entire incident, and my supervisor later called me in to check on my well-being. Surprisingly, he recounted his own experience of breaking free from toxic family dynamics and expressed his full support. Stephanie's family has been wonderful throughout this ordeal. Her parents invited me over for dinner last night and told me they consider me a member of their family. When he was young, the most unexpected development came from my younger relatives. Several of them reached out to say that seeing me stand up for myself has given them the confidence to address similar issues in their own family relationships. My cousin Jenny even included our story in her psychology class presentation on family systems and favoritism. Looking ahead, I've resolved to adhere to the boundaries I've set. I'm not completely cutting off contact, but I'm no longer willing to be the forgotten child. I blocked my siblings on social media and created email filters for my parents. My new policy is straightforward: I will only interact with family members who respect me and acknowledge their past behavior. Stephanie and I are considering moving in together, possibly to a different city where her employer has an office. The distance may provide everyone with the time needed to process and reflect. I want to thank everyone who has offered advice on this issue. The trip may have seemed like an extreme gesture, but it brought to light concerns that had been festering for decades. Sometimes, a significant moment is necessary to break old patterns. The next update will likely come after my parents' next wedding anniversary event, which I have already decided not to attend. Change is difficult but essential. Update 2. It has been 6 months since my last post, and I can hardly believe I'm writing this, but the situation has worsened, much worse. The biggest news? Stephanie and I are engaged. What should have been a joyous occasion has turned into yet another family drama. Following the cruise incident, I had minimal contact with my immediate family, choosing instead to focus on my relationship with Stephanie. The proposal came at an ideal time during a weekend trip to showcase our medical product at a healthcare conference. She has been my rock throughout all this family turmoil. However, things took a turn for the worse during our venue tour last weekend. We were visiting our third potential wedding location, a beautiful historic building with a garden ceremony area, when I heard my mother's voice echoing down the corridor. They had somehow learned about our venue tour schedule. Later, I discovered that my cousin Lauren had unintentionally revealed it in the family group chat. My parents arrived with Ethan and Mia in tow, like some sort of intervention team. My mother immediately began discussing her ideas for the wedding with the venue coordinator, completely ignoring Stephanie and me. When I firmly told them they were not invited and needed to leave, my mother burst into tears in front of the venue staff and other couples who were touring the space. What happened next was surreal. Ethan, the responsible older brother, tried to pull me aside for a family discussion. When I declined, he remarked, "This is what happens when you let the middle child make important decisions." Meanwhile, Mia was filming everything with her phone, presumably for a dramatic social media post. The venue planner, bless her heart, quickly recognized the situation and had security escort my family out, but not before my mother yelled that she would never forgive this betrayal and that I was breaking your father's heart all over again. Here's the kicker: they didn't just stumble upon us, they had clearly planned this. They brought printed images from my childhood of happy family occasions, which they intended to show to the venue staff. My mother even brought her old wedding album and discussed family traditions that we needed to incorporate. After they left, we discovered that they had already visited our other 2 potential wedding locations earlier that week, informing the staff that they were the key decision makers. They even attempted to put down deposits to secure the date. Stephanie was understandably shaken, and her family was appalled when they learned what had transpired. Her father, who is usually very polite, called my father immediately to inform him that their behavior was unacceptable. This sparked more controversy, with my father accusing Stephanie's family of stealing his son. We have since decided to completely rethink our wedding arrangements. Neither of the venues on our original list will be used. We are now looking at locations outside our area and have engaged a wedding planner who specializes in handling delicate family situations. She is implementing strict security measures and a thorough guest screening process. What's the silver lining in all of this? Our bond has only grown stronger. Stephanie and I are more confident than ever that we are making the right decision to start our lives together away from toxic family relationships. I've also received unexpected support from my colleagues. My employer, recalling the recent incident at our office, has approved additional security measures at work and even volunteered to host our wedding at his vacation property if we choose a fully private setting. The difficult part isn't the drama itself, it's recognizing that my wedding day, one of life's most significant occasions, is being turned into yet another battleground for my family's turmoil. But this time, I am not backing down. Stephanie and I deserve to celebrate our day the way we want. We are moving forward with our plans, but with increased security and a highly selective guest list. Our wedding will be a celebration of love and happiness. The day looked amazing, and our closest friends and selected family were there to support us. The morning preparations went smoothly, and Stephanie's family made everyone feel loved and included. However, despite all our efforts, my mother managed to enter just as the officiant was about to begin the ceremony. The doors flew open, and my mother dashed down the aisle, with my father trailing behind her like a reluctant shadow. What happened next was bizarre. Instead of the typical I object moment, my mother launched into a full-fledged tirade about how ungrateful I was. She began handing out prints of family portraits to stun guests as if they were bizarre wedding favors. What truly crossed the line was when she turned to Stephanie and remarked, "Good luck with this one, he's been bitter his entire life." But this is where things changed. Instead of allowing her to ruin our day, I finally mustered the courage to speak up about everything I had been holding back. I stepped forward and quietly informed my mother, "This is not about you. It never was. This is about your inability to love your children equally. Today is not about the past, it's about my future with Stephanie." The security team moved in to escort my parents out, but my mother wasn't finished. She turned to the guests and began divulging sensitive family secrets, attempting to embarrass me. That's when Stephanie's father intervened. He stepped between my parents and us with a calm authority, saying, "You've made your point, now leave my children alone." The term children had a profound impact in that moment. I realized I had discovered what I had been searching for all along, a family willing to love and support me. After my parents were escorted away, something unexpected happened. Several guests, even distant cousins who had witnessed my family's behavior over the years, spoke up to share their observations. My cousin's wife, a family therapist, discreetly informed me that my mother's behavior exhibited classic signs of narcissistic family dynamics. We proceeded with the ceremony, which was magnificent. Stephanie's brother delivered a heartfelt tribute at the reception, discussing how family is more than just DNA, it's about those who celebrate your accomplishments and support you during difficult times. The next morning, my father called me for the first time in his life. He admitted their favoritism, but in a way that made everything painfully clear. He said, "We only pushed Ethan and Mia more because you were so capable on your own. You must understand it was easier to focus on them." That admission, that they took the easy route rather than being fair parents, solidified my decision. I was done trying to understand or repair this relationship. I was over-expecting them to change or suddenly become the parents I needed. I have officially changed my phone number, and our new address is not listed. I accepted a promotion that puts me in charge of our company's West Coast expansion, which means we'll be moving across the country. Stephanie's employer also has an office there, and her family has already made plans to visit. The medical device initiative continues to save lives. Last week, we received statistics indicating that our technology had prevented over 200 potential cardiac incidents. Ironically, Ethan still works at the same hospital that rejected our device implementation proposal, despite the fact that it could have helped his patients. Thank you to everyone who has been following my story. Your support gave me the courage to speak up for myself and set boundaries. To anyone dealing with similar family dynamics, you deserve to be honored. You deserve to be seen. Sometimes, the family you choose is more significant than the one you were born into. This will be my final update because there is nothing else to say. I am not angry anymore. I am not hurt. I am just finished. My new family, Stephanie, her family, our friends, and those who truly care about us, are my primary priority right now. Walking away from a toxic situation is sometimes the healthiest option. It is not about vengeance or punishment, it is about choosing serenity, joy, and surrounding oneself with those who genuinely appreciate your existence. Thank you for following my journey. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the notification bell to stay updated with more real-life stories happening around you.